Story of how I went from Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie. I've never told this story in full at all to anyone, so I'm going to do my best. Lots of trigger warnings. I struggle with my memory. I think it's a grief defense mechanism, so my timeline may not be exactly accurate, but the events are going to be accurate. Okay, so I guess to really paint the picture, I need to start when I was in middle school, about 14 years old. My brother lived in a different household than I did, and I remember him dropping out of school. He was maybe 16, and my mom being so mad. Even though he didn't live with us, she was so upset. And at some point later, he had come to our house once or twice, and he was really sick. He had been on drugs, and I remember him just writhing in pain and cold sweating. And keep in mind, he's still a teenager, and I'm a very young teenager. And I remember him vomiting in the toilet, something that seemed to foam back up. Like it was awful. I was scared. And I remember my mom crying, which she never does. And she was in the bathroom with my brother, and I went to the door, and she just looked at me and said, "You better never put me through this," and shut the door in my face. And I remember going to check on my brother in the middle of the night, and he looked like he was crying in his sleep. And I would just get him a cold rag and hug him. I didn't really know what was happening. Well, I knew what they were telling me, but I didn't understand it because I'd never seen drugs. It wasn't really a big topic in my household. It was scary. Honestly, it was scary. My mom would end up taking him to the hospital. They would do whatever they did. He would come back home, go to sleep, wake up, feel better, and in a day or two he would be gone again. That happened multiple times. And then my mom was she was so stressed and upset. And I remember thinking I would never do that to her, and also this would be my opportunity to prove I'm good enough. Not that she made me feel like I wasn't, but I just always had that feeling. And this was going to be my time to shine. Some months later, not much later, my mom was pissed. She came home from work just going off on the phone with everybody. And then she comes to me and she's like, "Your brother has a fucking girl pregnant." My brother was 17 or 18. I think he was 18 at the time. Still very young. And I remember my mom like, "She's only 16. I don't know what the fuck he's thinking. I'm not raising a baby. No way, blah, 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 blah." And I'm just like, well, damn. I really didn't think nothing of it because I guess I still was just unable to really process it. And then I met my brother's girlfriend, and I loved her. She was so cool, and she was really nice, and her and my brother seemed to get along. Granted, I was only around them once or twice together. When I was 15, that summer, my brother had his baby, and I went and seen her at the hospital, and I just loved her from right then. I loved her. I adored her. Okay, my brother, he was really struggling with his addiction, and him and my niece's mom, who also partied and did drugs, they were having a lot of fights. Keep in mind, my brother has not even turned 19 yet, and I don't think my niece's mom was even 17 yet. She might have been. They were teenagers. They were kids, and they had a kid. And something had happened, and my brother really wigged out. And my niece's mom called my mom and wanted to come to our house to stay and basically hide. She was scared. So her and my niece come to my house. My niece was a baby, a bitty baby, like a month or two old. And my mom was telling my niece's mom like she was going to help her get her GED, get into college. My mom bought her a car and just told her if she would just stay and promise not to go back to our hometown where all her drug friends were, where my brother was, my mom would help her and help her get on her feet, get her own place, and take care of my niece. And she agreed. My mom got her a car, and within days, she left to go to the store. It was me, her, and my niece at home. She had left to go to the store, left the baby with me, and she didn't come back. And we couldn't get a hold of her for days. Finally, she called, wanting her baby back, wanting us to bring her baby. We did. And December came. My niece was born in August. This was probably, I don't know, September, October. And we were getting my niece every single weekend. My mom would go down there. It's like a 40-minute drive. Pick up my niece. Bring her home. We would have her for the weekend. And my mom would take her back. Every single weekend. Honestly, anytime she would let us. But especially every weekend. Because my parents were off work. And, you know, I was still in high school. My birthday comes in December. I have a picture for my 16th birthday with my Harry Potter cake. That my mom got me. That evening, I had plans to go to my hometown and have dinner with my dad and my aunt for free at a restaurant I really like in my hometown. It was like a Thursday. And I had called my mom after dinner. I had school on Friday. I called my mom and I said, hey, I'm going to go by my niece's mom's house. And I'm going to see if I can just get her and bring her home and save you a trip tomorrow. Keep in mind, also, side note, at this point, I'm in high school. I am trying to exceed expectations for my mother, for everyone. I'm making straight A's. I'm working 2 or 3 jobs. I'm 16 years old. To the point my family, my mom's side of the family, literally call me Mother Mary. I have a very serious boyfriend from age 14 to 19. I don't go to parties. I don't hang out with friends. I don't go to football games. I go to school. I go to work. I hang out with my boyfriend. I help with my niece. That's it. That's all I do. So I call my mom and I tell her I'm going to go see if I can get my niece and save her a trip. My mom says, okay, that's fine. I go to my niece's maternal grandmother's house. My birthday is in December, okay? I go and I knock on the door. And my niece's maternal grandmother comes to the door. And she has like this cotton out of her ear. I don't know if she had an infection. But she comes to the door. And there's just this strong smell. I don't know what it is. And I tell her, like, hey, I come to see if I could get my niece. Because my mom's going to be coming to get her tomorrow anyway. And she's very crass with me immediately. And is like, we're gonna call my niece's mom. We're gonna call her Jay. She's like, Jay's not here, and you're not taking this baby unless she says so. I'm like, okay, well, where's my niece? And she's like, she's in here sleeping. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to see her. The way I find my niece, I'm going to run out of time. Go to the next part. Story time of how I went from Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie, part 2. So, I went to my niece's maternal grandmother's house. I would like to say that my niece's maternal grandmother and her aunt came to my niece's graduation this past May. Those two live very different lives than they did at this time. However, so at this time, she tells me I'm not taking my niece home unless Jay says it's okay. She's at a party down the road on a Thursday. It's December, it's cold. So I'm like, well, I want to see my niece. And she lets me in. Right by the front door. My niece is, again, 2 or 3 months old at this time. She's in a pack and play. She's not asleep, but she's not crying. She never cried. She's in a pack and play that doesn't have a blanket or anything in the bottom other than like that hard mat. She's in a short sleeve onesie with like no legs in it. She is in a soaked diaper, and right next to a kerosene heater. Like, the kerosene heater is touching the pack and play. I instantly pick my niece up, and I ask her maternal grandmother, I'm like, where the hell is Jay? She's like, she's down the road somewhere, some party. And I'm like, okay, well, where? How do I get a hold of her? And she's just like, I don't know. And I said, well, when will she be here? And she said, I don't know. I pick my niece up, and I'm like, okay, well, I need a diaper so I could change her. And she says, I don't have any diapers. I said, how long have you not had any diapers? And I don't remember what she said, but she was very hateful with me. And I'm sure she could tell I was upset. I was pissed. I take my hoodie off, the pink one you saw in the picture. I strip my niece butt-ass naked. And I tell her maternal grandmother I'm taking my niece to the car to sit in my car with the heater on. And I'm not leaving without her. And she says, well, you're not leaving unless Jay says you can. And I said, that's fine. I'll sit in this driveway all fucking night. I'm not leaving. I took my niece to the car, and I'm holding her. And she's just awake and smiling and looking at me, and I've got her wrapped in this hoodie. I'm 16 years old. It's my birthday. And I text my mom, and I was like, I don't know what time I'll be home. And she calls me, and she's like, you better get your ass home. It's school night. And I told my mom that I was not leaving without my niece, and she could tell I was upset, and I told her what was going on. I think it was nearly 2 hours later, Jay comes home, fucked up. And she's like, hey Megan, what are you doing here? I wanted to punch her in the face, because even though she's still a young teenager, she's like 18, and I'm a teenager, I wasn't thinking about it like that. I was thinking about it like, what the fuck are you doing to my niece, is how I felt. And I said, I came down here for my birthday dinner with Dad, and I was coming to save my mom a trip, and your mother said I couldn't leave with my niece unless you said it was okay. She says, yeah, I don't care. I get home after midnight with my niece, and me and my mom go to give her a bath, and I didn't notice because it was so dark down there, I guess. And I don't want to embarrass my niece, she's 18 now, but I'll just say my niece had a rash that could not be doctored at home. It was the worst thing I'd ever seen in my life, as you can imagine, with her being in a heavy drenched diaper and her grandmother not knowing how long they had been out of diapers. Me and my mom take my niece to the doctor, and my mom's like, I'm upset, I'm crying for days, and I'm like, Mom, you can't take her back. And my mom's like, I have to. And I'm like, no, you can't take her back. They're going to kill her. That's what I told her. That's how I felt. My mom makes a CPS claim and is trying to go the correct routes. They do a wellness check. They go in this house that smells like chemicals. My niece next to kerosene heaters, and just all this chaos going on. And they call my mom and tell her they didn't have any findings. She's fine. She's fine. My mom ends up hiring a private investigator and going through the court, getting emergency custody, and we did. And my mom came home, and I was happy. I felt like it was a victory. Again, I'm a kid. I'm a teenager. I don't really understand. And my mom is crying again. And I don't understand. I'm like, what's wrong? Like, we did it. We've saved her. And again, my niece's mother's a teenager. And my mom was just like, saying that my niece's mom had no emotion. She didn't say anything when they asked her if she wanted to, like she just signed her over. And my mom was really sad about it because she didn't understand. It took a long time to understand. To be fair, my niece's mother is an addict, and it's something she's been exposed to and been around her entire life, and she doesn't really know a different way of life, and she never has, and that's all I'm going to say on that. I think that she loved my niece and loves my niece as much as she understands. But she could not and would not ever have been able to provide for my niece, and it felt like a dangerous situation. And looking back in the things I've experienced up until now, it was. So we have my niece. My mom is 40, and she's, you know, my stepdad and my mom and me, like, we're all pitching in, we're taking care of my niece. I'm hogging my niece all the time. I don't want nobody to hold her. I don't care if I'm on my flip phone, like, she's mine. And I just remember thinking and telling myself I had to push myself harder. I had to make better than straight A's somehow. I had to not ever be that and do that to my mom or to my niece. Like, it was the most important thing to me. So we have my niece. From then, now, she lives with my mom now. My mom is her mom. Again, I would like to say that my niece's maternal grandmother is a totally different person now than she was at that time. And my niece's aunt, who is her mother's twin sister, is a totally different person now. They check in on her. They came to her graduation. They made it out and turned themselves around. And I'm very proud of them. And I love them, and I care about them, and I appreciate them. Go to part 3. Story time of how I went from Mother Mary to a complete junkie, part 3. Ignore this rash. It happens when I get emotional or just overwhelmed. Yay for being in your 30s. For this part, I feel like I need to make a correction, give some disclaimers, and a little backstory. My niece is not 18, she's 19. I was emotional in the last parts. That's the correction. As far as disclaimer and backstories. My disclaimer is I want to say this sincerely, honestly, truthfully. My parents, my biological parents, my brother, they're my family, and I love them fiercely. I believe that all 3 of them are like me, are like you. It's all our first time being alive. None of us know what the hell we're doing. And I think they all did and continue to do the best they can with what they know and what they've experienced with their perspectives. They did the best they could with what they had, and still do. And anything I say, I don't ever want it to sound like I'm bashing any of my family, because I'm not. So a little bit of backstory. I think of why I felt like there was this expectation I internally needed to meet. When I was a kid and my parents divorced, I went with my mom, my brother went with my dad. We had very different lives. However, when we were little, my dad kept our childhood home. My mom moved by her own choice. Before my mom met my stepdad, though I lived with my mom, I spent a lot of time with my dad and a lot of time with my nanny, my mom's mom. My mom was a workaholic. She still is. She worked all the time. I know my brother come to my mom's a few times, and I've told stories about that, but overwhelmingly, weekends, school holidays, I went to my dad's, and me and my brother had the funnest childhood. My dad was so present in our lives. He did get a serious girlfriend for a long time at one time, and she got none of his time. He slept on a sectional couch with us. If they felt they was going somewhere, me and my brother was in the car before they got out the door. And my dad basically told her, I don't know what to tell you. My dad suffers with alcoholism on and off. And when I was younger, I don't think any of my family did anything to intentionally be mean to me. I have two cousins I'm very close with that are girls. They were the closest things to sisters I had. They were cheerleaders. They were beauty queen pageant winners. They were athletic. They were the it girl. And then there was my brother, who was an athlete. Football, baseball, total badass. Okay. Then there was me. Clumsy, lisp, not really good at anything other than I'm an artist. To hear my mom tell it, I'm the freak, the weirdo who just stays in a room and draws, whatever. At one point, my dad went through some stuff and he lost everything. His business, our home. He moved really far away. And my mom had met my stepdad by this point. We had moved to our new town. But I was still with my dad every weekend, every time school was out. But now I wasn't going to see my dad hardly at all, or my brother. And I remember always being afraid to, like, take a bath. My mom had to sleep with me until I was 12. I had this abnormal fear that her and my stepdad were going to leave me when I was in the bath or something. And I had this overwhelming anxiety that if my mom didn't sleep with me, somebody was going to break in and kidnap me. I don't know where all that came from, but I'm not saying anyone caused me abandonment issues or insecurities, but I had them. And looking back, it shows the addict type behavior, the instant gratification, the just deep-rooted things I didn't understand and nobody really looked at as a problem, because overwhelmingly I was normal. I went to school, I had friends. Now that all that's out of the way. During this time, we had got my niece, but right before that, when her and her mom come to my house and she left in the car and never come back, my brother was out of his mind on drugs. And he had called my mom and told her he was going to burn the house down with us in it, like he was going through some shit. Once my mom got my niece, her and my brother's relationship, there was just a brick between it. I think my mom was trying to tough love him, and he would call her and leave her messages and ask for things at times, and she would call me and be like, you've got to hear this message your brother left me, and kind of mocked him. And I'm not gonna lie, I went along with it often. But the way she just pretty much iced him out, I think that kind of drove my gotta be perfect mindset. And my mom was hard on me too at times. Not saying my mom didn't love me or didn't have good intentions, and I think it was her way of pushing me to be the best I could. For example, I was graduating high school with honors, and I come home with my ropes that went on my graduation gown. And the very first thing my mom said to me was, if you would have cracked a book, you could have been valedictorian. Alright, now that y'all have some backstory and disclaimer, let's get back to the story time. Story time about how I went from being Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie, part 4. So we have my niece. I'm a sophomore in high school. At the end of this school year, that boyfriend I mentioned that I had dated from age 14 to 19 was graduating. So I had 2 years of high school coming up by myself. I didn't have friends. He and I were in a very serious relationship, like I'm talking. We fell asleep on the phone with each other every night. I stopped having girls come over and hang out because he felt like I couldn't be present on the phone with him. and I liked him. I loved him. And so I just stopped hanging out with girls and having friends over. The first week of my junior year in high school, I ate my lunch in the bathroom because I didn't have any friends, and I had been at the school 2 years, and I didn't know what to do. It felt awkward. And finally, I was like, this is fucking gross. I'm not doing this. And I made friends. We didn't ever really hang out outside of school. Like, it was mostly at school. But eventually, I mean, they wanted to hang out. And I wanted to hang out, and they had boyfriends and thought my boyfriend could hang out. But, you know, and my boyfriend was hesitant about it, but eventually, you know, we did. And I saw my friends, my girlfriends, do normal shit. Like, have fun and go places and go do stuff that I was not doing or experiencing in my relationship. And with my jobs. And trying to be the valedictorian and help them and be with my niece, who I really wanted to be with all the time anyway. But I started suffering severe FOMO. I do want to back up and say, when I was in 9th grade, a boy was talking to me in the hallway because I had let him copy my homework. And my boyfriend saw it and got super jealous. And they had a confrontation. Like, we had a Agra, which was like an outside mini amphitheater thing that we could hang out between classes or eat lunch out there or whatever. And they had a confrontation one morning. And that boy was like, well, my boyfriend was like, stop talking to my girlfriend. And that boy was like, well, I like your girlfriend. And I think she likes me too. And I was like, that's going to be important later. Anyway. So, it was like, I was married at 16, 17 years old. But I'm at home, but I'm hanging out with my boyfriend a lot. I'm a good kid. My mom lets me stay the night with my boyfriend once I get a little older. And graduate high school. And I'd been wanting to go to school for cosmetology. That was my dream. That's what I wanted to do. I like to do it. I do it now, in a sense. I'm not a professional, but I cut my friend's hair. I dye my daughter's hair. I do my niece's hair up for her prom. You know, that was what I wanted to do. I loved to do it. It was art. It was me. It was perfect. But I'd been talking to my aunt a lot. And she was a nurse and was telling me all the benefits of going into the medical field. And it's like, tell me I can go and get a CNA class and start doing that, get my foot in the door, and then I can go through LPN or RN, and on and on and on and on. And I wanted to work in NICU and save little babies. I thought that would be super cool. So, I graduated high school. The very next week, I'm in a 7-week, which is really long for a CNA class, but that's what I go to. My mom pays a lot of money for me to go to it. That boyfriend I was talking about, he decides he's going to take the class too. With me. And afterwards, my aunt works at like a rehabilitation hospital. She says she can get me a job. Well, he's getting a job too. Same place. He ends up working on her floor, and it worked out for me because I got an easy floor and her floor sucked. It was a nursing home floor, and it was hard work, and that's what he got, and well, razzle-dazzle. However, so like the typical summer you get after you're in school, I didn't get that. I went straight into college. I finished that. I think 2-3 weeks later, fall classes started, and I decided I was going to take 5 college classes and work second shift, 2:30 to 11. 11:30, 11, I think. So I was going to school from 8 to 1:30, going to work 2:30 to, no, hold on, I'm sorry. The memory thing. I was going to school from 8 to 2, work 2:30 to 11. He and I got an apartment together, and my niece came and stayed there all the time with me. And I was just living the dream of a 40-year-old married woman, you know? A lot can change between the ages of 14 and 19. Now, that person I dated, I will say, despite some weird stuff like me not want me to really have friends and stuff, like, he was faithful to me, never raised his voice at me, never put his hands on me. He was great. but those feelings were not there, and that egregious FOMO. I was 19 years old, and I wanted to know what life had to offer. So the summer, I move in with my boyfriend. My mom, my aunt, my cousins, my niece. My mom and my aunt plan a girls trip. Girls only. I haven't been to the beach in forever. I'm super excited to go. My boyfriend is not happy I'm going. But like I'm going. Well, one night at the beach, my mom, my aunt, my cousins who are of age, they decide, they're going to have a few drinks and have fun. I'm madder than hell. Because, like hell, y'all are going to drink around my niece. You got me fucked up. I went off. And my mom said, now y'all know we can't do anything around Mother Mary. And that's where the nickname came from. However, during this trip, having a week away from my boyfriend, I'm especially feeling the FOMO. Like, there's so much life and experiences I'm not having, and I'm never gonna have, because we are a married 40-year-old couple, it felt like. I needed to have those experiences. I spent that week doing a lot of soul searching and thinking, and I made up my mind. I was just miserable. Somewhere around this time, that boy who told my boyfriend, I like your girlfriend, I think she likes me too, he got a hold of me, and what's interesting is he had actually been kicked out of school around age 18. That sounds familiar. He's also a football player. And a damn good time, or that's what it looked like from my seat. And he had got a hold of me on social media, and we had talked some, and I'd actually went to see him, and nothing happened. Like, we just hung out, had a conversation at a gas station, actually. And he was messaging me pretty regularly, and I was like, I want to know. Like, I want to know. I went home from my mom's side. I had been in my mom's. My boyfriend was at work at the hospital. I was off that day. Before he got off work, I had packed 7 outfits and 7 bags. I don't know if that was the addiction gene or ADHD that I did it like that, but I did. I didn't write him a note or text him. I waited on him to get home. And I just remember telling him, like, I wasn't happy. What was there? 14 wasn't there anymore. I loved him, but I had to go. And he was heartbroken. Really heartbroken. For years. And I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't mean to do that, but I will say this. The places this story is about to go is triggering, and it gets a little dark. I don't regret that decision. And I'll explain why when we get further down the story. So I'm going to stop here. I pack 7 outfits and 7 bags. I get in my car and I take off. I don't really know where I'm going to go. But then again, maybe I do. Go to the next part. Story time about how I went from being Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie. Part 5. This will be the last one until tomorrow. So that boy that looked like a good time is staying at his buddy's house because him and his parents have gotten a fight or something. I don't know. And he wants me to come over there. So I come over there. But his buddy's working out of town. It's just his buddy's stepdad, this guy, and me. Keep in mind, though I had a lot of freedom, I was never exposed to any kind of partying or drugs, or I had a very stable life. My mom was a workaholic. I never went without anything I needed, wanted, and what she thought I needed and wanted. I'd never been in this type of environment. My friends mostly had, like, 2-parent homes when I was younger. Like, this was a new thing for me. And it was just weird, because it's like, okay, there's this guy, and this man who's not his dad, but he's like, what? Whatever. I want to know what's going to happen. So, we're hanging out, and he pulls out some pot. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not scared, but I'm scared. Like, I don't know. I remember this being the beginning thing I heard about with my brother and what all led to that. So I'm just like, you know, he can tell I'm nervous. And he looks at me, and y'all, this boy's eyes, they're so blue and they're so beautiful, and he is so fun, and he has bad written all over him. And I'm like, I need to test that out. And he looks at me, he's like, you've seriously never seen this before? And I said, no. And he, you know, and I watch him light it and hit it. And he hands it to me, and I don't want to look stupid. So I take it, and like, I'm a little shaky, and I do exactly what I seen him do. And then I'm dying, okay? It feels like I am smoking glass on fire. My throat's burning, I'm coughing, I can't breathe, I'm panicking. And he laughs, not like in a, I'm making fun of you way, but in like a amused way. Not really that, but like you're cute, you're gonna be okay way. But I'm just like, and he's like, if you ain't choking, you ain't smoking. And in my head, I can't speak, but I'm like, well, what the fuck does that mean? I really don't know if I'm gonna live, okay? So, he pushes my hair out of my face, and he's like, just breathe. Gives me some water. And y'all, I'm higher than boat gas. I don't know what's going on. There's more colors in existence. Like, shit's crazy. And that man who was there, his buddy's dad, he's like, take her behind the woodshed. Like, he's fucking with him. Now, I know what he meant by that now. But at the time, in my head, I was like, woodshed? Is he gonna fucking kill me? What the fuck? This boy, well, Buddy's dad goes to bed at some point, and I'm higher than damn giraffe's ass, and this boy touches my face and kisses me, and all that shit about shooting stars and fences and fireworks and Disney movies. I'm in it. I'm off to the races. I'm done. And I'm like, is this what love is supposed to feel like? Or is this just pot? Go to the next part. Story time. How I went from being Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie. Part 6. Sorry I'm late. Fridays are off the chain. So I stay the night with this beautiful blue-eyed bad boy. I wake up the next morning in this house I don't know, I've never been to, with this boy that I haven't really been around since sophomore year of school. I can't remember if I have to work that day or not. I do have to work that day. But I wake up before everyone else, and I have this overwhelming feeling of just shame and guilt, because one, I had done the one thing my mama could never find out I did. The one thing that was the beginning of the thing with my brother, and not only that, I had kissed another boy, I had done other things with another boy who wasn't even my boyfriend. I know I broke up with my boyfriend the night before, okay? But I still just felt like I did not need to be there. This is not what my life is. I was crying. So I quietly made an escape and I left. I don't remember where I went, but I went to work at 2:30 and I ended up texting him because I hadn't heard from him and I thought that was weird because did he not wake up? Like, where the hell did she go? So I texted him and I was like, hey, sorry I snuck out on you. You know, I just had to work and whatever. And I figured he would text right back, but he didn't. And he didn't text that whole night. And I feel like there were several days I did not hear from him. And I was just like, what have I done? I felt dirty. Like, I felt gross. Not that he was gross, but what I had done was just not the kind of girl I was. Well, I'm staying with my cousin. She got an extra room. She's let me kind of crash there. And I have to be up in the morning at like 6:30 to get ready for school, and then I have to work that night. I wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and my phone is blowing up. And it's a number I don't know, so I'm just like hitting ignore. Well, they leave a voicemail. It's funny now. I listen to this voicemail, and it's this masculine voice, and it's like, hey, this is Jessica. I saw your number in Zach's phone. We're just going to use his real name. You know, it doesn't matter. I saw your number in Zach's phone. He said you were his cousin, and I just wanted to talk to you, girl. Give me a call back. Excuse me? I text her. And I'm like, I just heard your voicemail. I'm sorry, who are you? And she's like, I'm Zach's girlfriend. Who? Like, I'm pissed. One, this bitch woke me up. Two, what the fuck do you mean you're Zach's girlfriend? And you've went through his phone and he's asleep next to you. What is going on? She said, are you his cousin? She texted me again. I text back and I said, Jessica who? And she told me, and I went to school with her too. And I said, oh yeah, are you the one he brought to Christmas last year that ended up giving him chlamydia? Yeah. Unhinged. Okay. So I'm like mad all day long. I'm pissed. Well, I'm at work that night, and I get a text from Zach. And he says, hey. And I didn't answer. He tries to call me. I don't answer. He texts me again. He says, if it makes you feel any better, that dumb bitch robbed me. And I said, it does. It makes you feel a lot better. I hope she got you for all you had. And I don't know where the conversation went from there, but I know I ended up going to hang out with him, and we spent a whole lot of time together going forward. I ended up meeting his buddy who had been working out of town at the house he'd been staying at, and his girlfriend, and, you know, we would go swimming in creeks, we would go out to eat, we were riding around in his buddy's blue truck listening to Gucci Mane LaFleur. Do you know what time it is? Gucci time, 15 past the diamonds, bitch. Like, and we was smoking, and we were having fun. Like, I felt alive for the first time. I felt like I was living. I was doing all the things I never got to do. My mom knows something is up, and she is not fucking happy. In fact, she hires that same private investigator she hired for my niece to follow me and figure out where I'd been staying. and sent me a picture of the house and was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, you're crazy. Why'd you follow me? Da, 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 da. But this is still brand new. Fuck what she's saying, because I'm having the time of my life. Go to the next part. Story time. How I went from being Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie. Part 7. So, Zach and I are spending a shit ton of time together. And then he comes to me one day, one night, whatever, I'm hanging out. And he says his buddy, D, along with his girlfriend, B, are going to Illinois to see D's mom for Thanksgiving. And Zach's going with them. And I'm like, what? So they go. And they're gone, I think, for 2 days. And I'm sad. Like, I'm big fat sad. What am I supposed to do with all my time? I'm working. Zach texts me at work. And he's like, I got bad news. Okay. D's gonna have to start working up here. We don't have any money. We can't get home. I'm gonna go to work with him. Like, I don't know when I'm coming home. Huh? The fuck do you mean? Now, keep in mind, Zach has like a cable climbing job, like climbing telephone poles, and it's very hit or miss. Like, it's a subcontractor type deal. So I'm like, what are you talking about? You're not coming home. He's like, I'm gonna lose my job. Da, 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 da. I'm making good money, and I have a brand new car that I'm paying for, and I'm like, can't come home. I'ma come get you. So me, one of my girlfriends I'd had in high school, actually, ironically, was dating one of Zach's distant cousins through marriage. I text her, they're down, I pick them up, and we are heading from Tennessee to Illinois. We stop at McDonald's and get Happy Meals. We're hungry, we want Happy Meals, and we're on the damn road. It takes us about 6-ish, 7-ish hours to get to Litchfield, Illinois. That's where he is. And we pull up, and D and B are outside. I don't know where Zach is. They're standing outside. Well, B, like, runs up to my car, and she's like, girl, what are you doing here? Hey, what are you doing here? We're coming home tomorrow. Bitch, what? Coming home tomorrow? I tell her everything Zach told me, and she dies laughing. She's like, he's inside. You go and see him. I go in. I meet Dee's mom and his brother or whatever. And I go in Dee's brother's room where Zach is, and he is sitting on the foot of this bed, y'all. And I kid you not, this boy is just swimming. And he's like, baby girl, what are you doing here? Get in, the water's fine, but the sun is hot. And he is swimming. He is high on acid, y'all. He thinks he's at the beach. And I'm like, what the? Keep in mind, y'all, I just seen pot a couple weeks ago. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, the fuck out of here, okay? So, I think he kind of comes down from it or something, like he's a little more lucid in a few hours, and we get in the car, and we're coming back, because I work the next day. It's my weekend work. And we end up getting tired, I think, and we stopped and we got a hotel. We get home, and my friend and her boyfriend, who is Zach's cousin, they already have an apartment and like want us to move in. So, bitch, here we come. We're there for a few weeks. My mom is pissed. I lose my job around this time, and I've done quit school, like I'm not coming around. My ex-boyfriend is texting my mom and telling her all kind of stuff about my new boyfriend because he's still pissed over that fucking high school altercation. And my mom is she's put out with me. And I was kind of worried there was going to be a wedge between us, like her and my brother, but I also kind of didn't care because I had this specimen in front of me and I was infatuated, okay? I was over the moon. Well, not many weeks later, Zach's stepmom pulls into our driveway, and I've never met his family at this point. And he goes outside and he's talking to her, and he comes back in, like, whatever. No big deal. Later he tells me he wants to take a walk. We live in, like, apartments. Bruh, take a walk where? And we go, and there's, like, this fence and this business in front of the apartments, and there's, like, a fallen telephone pole or something, and we go, and we sit on it, and we had just been out there a few days ago, like, taking pictures, our friends and stuff. We're sitting on this bench, and he says, I think I love you. You know, you love me. Okay. I didn't really know what to say. Like, I had those feelings too, but this is still really new, and I'm just like, that's such a nice thing to say. And he's like, I'm serious. I haven't felt this strongly, not the same, but this strong since my mom died. His real mom unalived herself when he was a kid. It was a tragic, terrible story. And I'm like, oh. And he's like, I'm really at home with you. You know what I mean? And I did know what he meant, because I felt that way too. Y'all, this motherfucker pulls a ring out of his pocket and is like, I don't ever want to be without you. I want you to marry me. Yeah. So once I get myself together, I said, are you joking? Why did I say that? I don't know. Like, this has to be a joke. That's a diamond in your hand, boy. What are you talking about? So after I get through that, and he's like, this is not what I expected. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I was like, yeah. Hell yeah. Like, let's do it. He puts the ring on my finger and let's go. But then things take a very unexpected turn. Go to the next part. Story time. How I went from being Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie, part 8. Zach asked me what my favorite food was. I told him gourmet Italian, of course. Please put me a pizza Lunchable in the microwave. Thank you. 45 seconds. He was so cute. He wanted to impress me. He's like, microwave? Forget that I want a fucking Lunchable, okay? He's like, a microwave? Absolutely not. That's where I draw the line. He makes me a pizza Lunchable and he puts it in the oven. He's like, you're gonna love this. And I'm sitting on the kitchen counter and the timer goes off. Y'all, this boy pulls it out with his bare hands and instantly, and it goes all up the, I'm dying laughing, okay? He just wanted to impress me, and he did. I put mustard on his hands to help with the burns. I guess the next day, like, he was going to work. Nobody was at the apartment but me. I become really sick for no reason. The smoking, the bacon cooking, everything is making me want to throw up. I get a pregnancy test, and it's positive. It happened on the way back from Illinois at the hotel. There was no more oxygen in my body. I know my blood went to my toes and my asshole went to my stomach. Like, there's no way I'm looking at 2 pink lines right now. Fucking no way. I'm 19. I'm a year older than my brother. Like, but I'm also like, damn. This never happened with my ex-boyfriend, thank God. 14 to 19. And this instantly happened with Zach, like, meant to be. Like, I'm gonna have a little family, it's gonna be perfect, and we're gonna love each other, we're gonna be together forever, we're gonna raise this baby, like, it's gonna be great. So I tell Zach. He tells his family. And they're not happy, but they are supportive. They're like, y'all are coming out of that apartment. Y'all are coming to live with us. Like, we're going to get through this. They didn't even really know me. They didn't even really know me when his stepmom gave him that ring. But he told her that I was the one, and she believed him, and she loved him and supported him that much. I had ended up going somewhere, being somewhere with my mom, and she had took my car that I was paying for, but had stopped paying for. She took it from me. So she was giving me a ride, and I don't know where we were, and she was like, why don't you just come home? What the fuck are you doing? And I finally got frustrated. I was like, Mom, I can't come home. Do you not understand? She's like, what the fuck? Why can't you come home? Are you pregnant? And I was just silent. And she calls me by first and middle name, and it's like, you better fucking tell me. I'm going to get a fucking test right now. And I'm like, okay. Yes. My mom was so mean in that moment. She said such hurtful things to me. And she said, you have no choice. I'm making the appointment tomorrow. And I was like, Mom, I'm keeping it. And she's like, you're hurting your niece. She misses you. The whole family doesn't know what the fuck you got going on. How am I going to go tell all them that you're fucking pregnant by this thug that you don't even know? And I'm like, I love him. And I'm going to marry him. And I show her my ring. And she's like, get the fuck out of my car. She was calling me for like a week straight. She had called Zach's parents. And they're like, we're not going to tell her to do that. Like, this is not what anybody really wanted or expected. But we're not going to tell her to do that. My mom cusses them out. She's calling me. She's crying the last time she calls me, just begging me to come home. My dad and my brother aren't in my life at this time. The only family I have is my mom. And I've spent my entire life trying to make her proud of me and not be my brother. And she's hurting. I go home. I go home. I had a choice. I was of age. I had a choice. But I felt like I didn't. Alright, this is getting heavy. I'll probably get the next part tomorrow. Sorry I kept y'all waiting all day. We'll get back at it like a crack addict, no pun intended, tomorrow. Story time. How I went from being Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie, part 9. I'm at home with my mom, and a couple days I'm bucking what she wants me to do. And she tells me if I go through with this, she's done. She's not going to have anything to do with me or this baby. And we make the appointment. I'm coached what to say when I go. That I can't say someone else gave me the idea. It was my choice alone. And we go to the appointment. So the first thing they have to do is make sure it is viable. And they do. And they ask me if I want to hear the heartbeat. And they described it as strong. I opted out of hearing it. Go back to the room. They give me the IV, they put me to sleep, and it's over. On the way home, my mom is adamant about going to Old Navy. I don't feel good, I'm in pain, but we go. My mom insists on me getting something. She's shopping for herself and my niece and whoever, but she insists I get something. She's one of 7. She's a twin. She's the baby. She was the runt. My mom is not very affectionate, per se. And she shows love by buying things, and she always has. So finally, I like pick a hoodie or something just so we can go. And I feel like she gets annoyed, maybe. I don't know if it's on the way home or the next day or something, because I just feel I'm just sad. And she tells me I'm not going to blame her for this. And I tell her I want to see Zach. I want to go to Zach's. And she's like, why do you want to go there? You're going to lie to him. And I was like, I still want to go because I knew him and his family supported me. I did lie to them. I told them I miscarried. But I went there and I stayed there. I didn't go back home. I don't remember how long we stayed with them, but Zach was gone a lot, hanging out with Dee. Like going to watch the game or going, he was just always gone. And one weekend, we were hanging out with D and B in the blue truck listening to Gucci Mane Flair. And we were at a gas station. And D is doing something on the console of the truck. Like, and he hands the bill he used to Zach. And Zach leans up from the back seat and does this. And by the time he sits back down, like, I have tears because what just happened? What did he just do? Why did he do it? And he asked me what's wrong. And I just looked at him and he was like, it's nothing. So over the course of several weeks, Zach's just gone a lot, and I'm at his parents'. And finally I tell him one night he's going over there, but it's a guy's night, I can't go. And I'm like, why don't you just bring me some back? And he's like, no, you don't want this. And I'm like, no, I want it. I want to know what's so good about it, what's so fun about it. Bring me something back. And he does. He hands me 3 white pills, and he goes in the bathroom, and while he was in there, I crushed up all 3. They were big too. Like, if I could say what they were, y'all would be like, what were you doing? I crushed up all 3. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do them all. And snorted all 3 of them. And he come back in the room, and he was like, okay, let's do this. And I'm like, I already did. He's like, you didn't leave me any? I was like, no, you didn't give me a dosage. The fuck? Y'all, this is where I get into the argument of addiction is a disease or a choice. Yes, I made the choice to do it, just like most people make the choice to do it or to try it at high school parties or wherever, where most people are like, that was too much, hell no, or, you know, it's a fun memory to bring up at brunch with the girls 10 years later. When I did this, my only thought was, where has this been my entire life? I never want to not feel like I feel right now on these pills again. This is amazing. I never want to be without it again. I can't believe I haven't experienced this before. This is it. This fixes whatever, I don't know, it's broken. Zach and I don't decide to start using protection. I get pregnant again. I miscarry. I don't tell anyone about it. And then several months later, I get pregnant again. And we're excited. You know, we wanted to replace what we had lost. We wanted to replace what I had terminated, unbeknownst to Zach. And we're excited. We go tell his parents, and his stepmom, it's a very different reaction. She says, I was willing to help before, but you guys did this on purpose. Knowing you're not in a place to bring a baby in this world and take care of a baby, y'all don't have your own place, you don't have jobs, Y'all did this on purpose. And I'm not raising your child for you. Y'all are going to have to figure it out. I decided not to tell my mom until I'm like 6 months pregnant. But even with all that, me and Zach, we're excited. We're happy. He goes back to work, climbing poles. His boss rents us like an extended stay studio hotel type apartment. I'm sick the entire pregnancy. Zach ain't coming home till way late. He's out drinking with guys he works with and with Dee. And they would bring him home and they would throw him on the bed next to me. And linemen have to wear boots. I called them stripper boots, like they'd be up to their knees, like long laces. They would throw him on the bed, plastered. And one time Dee even kissed me on the forehead before just walking out, leaving me to strip him down, make room for myself in the bed, sick as a dog, pregnant. And this goes on for months. But me and Zach, remember, we're engaged. We're getting married before this baby comes. And that's kind of what we do. Go to the next part. Story time. How I went from Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie, part 10. Zach decides he wants us to get married on his birthday. And I'm like, what the fuck? No. And he tells me that that day does not matter at all. I'm trying to remember the exact wording he said. What did he say? He said something like, I don't matter without you. My birthday is pointless without you. You complete me, like some shit like that. I don't know. I don't remember. So we do marriage counseling with his youth pastor who has agreed to officiate this. And Zach's working out of town now at this point. And he only comes home on weekends. So we can't go to the courthouse and get the actual marriage license. And he never makes the time to come home in time to do it. And we've already sent out invitations for this shotgun illegal wedding. And his pastor agrees to do it anyway, but it's like, Monday, y'all have to go. So the day comes, and I find out I'm having a girl the day before the wedding. So it's all black and white, and I have like a blue ribbon on my flowers and some blue little accent things because that's Zach's favorite color, Zachary blue. That's what I called it. But I paint my toes pink because I'm having a girl. I want my mom to give me away because I don't really have a relationship with my dad at all. My mom doesn't want to give me away, and I'm like, well, you're doing it. And she picks her dress, and it's all black. And I said, you look like you're going to a funeral. Okay, Johnny Cash. She says, maybe I am. Me and Zach have our wedding, and I'm so happy because I'm like, yes, this is it. This is what I want. I have a husband. We're going to have a baby girl. This is so perfect. I never felt so loved as I did that day. And I never knew my heart could love that much. I loved this man. So, wedding's over. We don't even have a reception. Like, we go out to eat with his grandparents, I think. And we go back to our hotel studio when we're looking for a place to move. And Zach is still gone a lot. And he's doing a lot of pills. And I want to do them with him, but I can't because everything makes me sick. We find a house to rent. Shortly after we rent it, something happens. Zach's at work, and I really have to use the bathroom, and something happens, and I'm like, I still have to use the bathroom, and I'm texting my friend about it, and she says, you need to go to the doctor. You could be leaking, and that can cause an infection. You need to go get it checked out. So I go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, well, go home, get a bag, and I'll meet you at the hospital. And I was like, what? I'm 29 weeks pregnant. And he's like, you don't have any fluid left, so we need to get you there. We got to try to keep this baby in for a little while, but you got to go to the hospital. I can't get a hold of Zach. Like, I get a hold of my mama, and she comes, and I'm scared because they're telling me all the things that could potentially go wrong. They're keeping me in the hospital and trying to keep me there till 34 weeks. So her lungs will be fully developed, and it won't be too soon that there could be other issues, but there's a lot of risks. Finally, Zach shows up, thinking he's having a baby right then. He's not. He comes after work. He's bringing me Wendy's Frosties and Qdoba tacos, and I'm in this hospital, and I keep getting in trouble because I'm making my own bed. I feel fine. They give me a 30-minute wheelchair ride a day, and my baby shower happens while I'm at the hospital. I don't get to go. Zach's stepmom completely paints our little apartment, our house we got. She does my nursery. She spends a lot of time there making sure this is perfect for when I get home. During this time, I don't remember. I think my friend's mom who worked at the hospital, somebody told me I should take my wedding band and my engagement ring home and leave it, just because you never know. So Zach does, and he tells me it's on my jewelry box. Okay. So finally at 34 weeks, they induce me. And the Pitocin didn't hurt, the Cervidil hurt. The medicine they give you to soften your cervix. And I had my mom digging her fists like in my hips and my back because I hurt so bad. And finally, after hours in the morning, the doctor comes in and I grabbed them by their coat and I said, "You cut her out or you kill me." I said, "Let's see what's going on." They get the ultrasound, and my bratty ass child is sideways with her elbow in my birth canal like she's posing at the damn beach. And he's like, "Let's get a C-section." yeah, let's go. So you can only take 2 people back there. I take my mama and I take Zach. Zach's right next to me, and my mom's next to him. They got the curtain up, you know, we're getting to work. And my mom says, "Zach, look over the curtain." Zach says, "Fuck you, you look over the curtain." My mom says, "It's your kid." Zach looks over the curtain. He sits down white as a ghost, like he's about to pass out. And he says, "You don't feel that? They are elbow deep in you right now." I don't feel anything. So, I don't know. It doesn't take very long. They get her out, and they roll her by me and tell me I could look at her. She's sticking her tongue out, and that's all I see her. She goes to NICU, and we can't hold her for like 2 or 3 days. I finally get to go in there. My mom and Zach take me in a wheelchair, and my mom's like, "You want to guess which one's yours?" And I instantly guess. I don't know how, but I did. She's in there for 11 days. Zach takes me every morning and drops me off. When he goes to work at 5:30, he comes in the evening, and we sit there till they kick us out. It was so hard leaving the hospital without my baby. Then we bring my baby home, and I've been sent home with a prescription of pain medicine, and it's gone within a day or 2 because I'm abusing it. But once it's gone, I'm in postpartum psychosis. I'm a very good mom. I'm very attentive to my baby. My mom, everybody just talks about what a good little mom I am. But I have just something in me against Zach. I don't trust him. I know he's out doing shit he shouldn't be doing. I thought he was going to be home with his wife and his baby. By the way, by Monday I was pissed. I don't know if I said that. I never went and signed the papers. We were not legally married. But in my brain, we were married. Like, why are you not going to work and coming home? Eventually, my daughter, 6 months, 8 months, I don't even remember, y'all. She gets off of formula and goes to regular milk, and I have a lot of formula left over. And I posted on Craigslist to try to get rid of it to somebody. A lady messages me wanting it all. Awesome. I go meet her. I take it to her. She gives me the money. And she tells me, "If you can get any more, I'll buy all you can get." Story time, how I went from being Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie, part 11. I need to back this story up a little bit because there's a few key details I forgot. when I got out of the hospital with my daughter and went home, and I went to get my engagement ring and my wedding band, my engagement ring was gone. Now, this wasn't the one Zach's stepmom gave me, because I had got a new one that was the full set, but I still had hers in my jewelry box. But my engagement ring was gone. No one had been at my house except for Zach, his stepmom, and she had her sister-in-law and nieces there one night, I think, showing them or having them help with the nursery. I am devastated. Zach's pissed. So we call his stepmom, like, where's her ring? And apparently there had been an issue in the past with her sister-in-law. She's mad. And as time goes on, Zach and I start using quite a bit more. And we need money one day. And he tells me he wants to sell his stepmom's ring. And she had told him, when she gave it to him, to give to me, that no matter what, not to sell it, to give it back to her. If I get another one, it was the one his dad had proposed to her with nearly 2 decades before, and it was very important to her. And I'm like, we can't do that. And he says, well, she let yours get stolen? Fuck her, we're doing it. And I said, fuck her, we're doing it. We started distancing ourselves from them. Zach had a lot of stuff that I later found out wasn't exactly accurate, but he was struggling with the passing of his biological mom, as any child would who experiences that the way he did. And I don't remember what it is. Somehow his stepmom and me get to texting and we're arguing, and that ring comes up, and I tell her we sold it, and she's pissed, and I'm like, well, you let mine get fucking stolen, and I'm saying all kind of crazy shit, and she tells me I'm an ungrateful little bitch. What? That is the only time that woman has ever said anything hurtful to me, and there have been a lot more times that I was deserving of her saying way worse than that. But I was like, fuck this bitch. Okay. So, now that that's out of the way. I remembered I had mentioned my ring before, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. Anyway, so, back to, I'd sold the formula to this lady, and she had told me if I could get any more, she'd buy whatever I had. So, I went to the grocery store, and I shoplifted baby formula. Not a whole lot, maybe like 8 cans. Which I know sounds like a lot, but hold on. I take it to her, she buys it all for cash. I have my product, I'm not sick, and I'm like, light bulb. Over the next 16 months, I'm going to every grocery store, which in each like small little town within my big town, there's 3. I'm going to them all, like over a 60-mile radius, 7 days a week. Taking my baby, I'm going in there, I'm filling up 2 bags. Zach goes with me a few times. We're filling up plastic totes, putting the lid on, moving the sticker to the bottom so we can self-check at it. He's like, he climbs poles, he's very upper body strong. He's not touching the scanner, so it can't weigh it down, setting it in the buggy like it's got nothing in it. We're walking out of the store, and we're going and picking up $200, $300, $400 every time. And that will buy you at least 10, we're going to call them inboxes, which is not a medication for having a baby, or, you know, that's a serious pain medication. And we are paying $25 to $30 a pop every single day. Eventually, we get caught several times, but we get away. But eventually we get caught in a way that we can't get away. And when we went in, I was being reckless. I was sick. I didn't care who seen me do what. I was trying to get the shit, get it sold, get what I needed. We get caught. I get my daughter out of the buggy, get her in the car. Zach is behind my car and he's trying to bend my license plate. And one of the workers is like this big dude, and him and Zach kind of have a struggle at the back of my car. And I'm like, I've got to get out of here. I put my car in reverse and I kind of ease back, and it startles the guy off, which is what I wanted. Zach gets in the car, we make a run for it, but by the time we're to the main highway, cops are coming both ways. So Zach's like, we just got to stop. We've got our kid in the car. So we pull into like a little strip mall that's in front of the store we're at, and we get arrested. His grandmother comes to get my daughter. I call my mom. This is when I tell my mom that I'm using. I'm crying, I'm scared, like I've never been in trouble before. She leaves me in there for 5 days. And all I learn is new crimes and how to be better at it. She gets me out. I'm out for about 3 weeks. I get a job. I have a different car by this time. A cheap car. I pawn my car title to get Zach out. We're staying in hotels, and we eventually get an apartment together. We're staying in hotels like on weekends. We eventually get a new apartment, and he's working. I'm working different jobs, but I can't keep a job. And we are doing hella opiates. However, the lady I had sold the formula to, she done heard about me, because they done made a whole news article about me and what happened. And when I went to court and got first offenders, but even getting that, they had dropped the initial charge. I had actually emailed the person who wrote this article, and I was like, hey, this is inaccurate. This is not an accurate take of what happened. Furthermore, I was not charged with this. Can you please, like, take it down or at least correct it? Because people, if they Google me, like, that's what's coming up. And that makes it hard for me to get a job or anything. He lets me know real quick. He ain't taking down a damn thing. It's public information. He's a journalist. And basically, I could get fucked. Bruh. Okay. Well, like I said, I'm getting jobs here and there. I'm not keeping any of them because I'm late or I'm high. And I had come up with some new crimes, like I was getting stuff and returning it for gift cards and selling them, and eventually I get arrested for that. And all my hustles have ran dry. Because that's what I did. I boosted stuff, I shoplifted, I sold it, and it was done. I couldn't do it anymore. I done got hemmed up from the floor up. So I get another job in a doctor's office as a medical assistant, which I went back to school to do when my daughter was very first born. And I steal from my job some diabetic apparatuses, we'll say, you know, hypodermic. And I go home to Zach, and I'm excited. I think I've hit a gold mine. I'm like, we're going to sell all 3 of these, and we're going to have our meds, and we're not going to be sick. And he sadly lets me know they are not worth that much. We have 1 inbox to split between us, and we are used to doing 5 to 10 a day a piece. We are about to be sick. Before I get into the next part, I want to say, Zach and I in the beginning, there was such a toxic attraction, and there was our whole relationship. There was never a day he didn't tell me I wasn't beautiful, even if we were fighting like cats and dogs. He held my hand. He made me feel beautiful. He made me feel wanted. He made me feel attractive. We did have a lot of good times in the beginning. Go to the next part. We have 1 inbox to split between us. We're about to be sick. I think we're going to sell these diabetic magic sticks, and we're not. So, Zach tells me, you know, we could do it how we normally do it, or we could use these diabetic magic sticks, and we will be higher than we have ever been. And I'm a little scared because I'm like, that's the thing about addicts. Like, they'll judge other addicts for what they choose to use and how they do it. And all I had heard was like, that's the end of the rope. Like, that's J of the J's. But he's making it sound good. And I agree. And we do it. And I do not want to glorify this or sensationalize it because it's not worth it. It's not, none of that. However, let me say, we do this by this method and it is fucking euphoric. Like, I could roll around on the floor like a damn snail in a sleeping bag. Like, I just felt melted and I felt good and I felt not sick. The next day, we have enough money for one inbox. And we're at a store and we're waiting on our person who supplies it to pull up. And if you've ever done it or been around people who do it, you know who's in a parking lot waiting on it. You know what I'm saying? And we're sitting there for a while, and this guy walks up to the window where Zach is and says, "What's up, bro? You want some dog food?" And Zach's like, "Is it any good?" And I'm like, "We don't got a fucking dog." And he's like, "It's heroin." And Zach gets it. And we go home, and we do it. And we never, ever, ever touch a pain pill again after that. We are in an entirely different jungle now. This goes on for, I don't know, a year, maybe. We lose our apartment. We lose everything again and again and again. It gets so bad, y'all. I'm so malnourished. And I can't find parts of my body to get this substance to my body. And I had sat in a bathroom one time and counted, and in 1 hour, 60 minutes, I had pushed this into me 116 times before giving up. I gave up. And I was so sick. When I tell you, it felt like my bones were breaking, my muscles were being pulled apart. It felt like my femurs were being pulled from my pelvis. Sick. Fucking sick. Around this time, we go start staying with his parents because we don't have a place to live. And one day, nobody's home, and we decide we're going to take his sister's Xbox, we're going to pawn it, and we're going to go to Atlanta to get $30 worth of this shit. And that's exactly what we do. We go home, everything's normal. I start microwaving Savannah dinner. We're sitting at the table, and we hear at the door, the cops were there. Zach runs downstairs out of a basement window. I'm not going to run. I can't run, for one. Remember, I'm not athletic, but I'm not going to, and my kid's here, and it is what it is. But I'm mad. They don't handcuff me in front of my daughter. Thank God. They, get her out of the room. And Zach's stepmom, my daughter's grandmother, grabs me and hugs me and tells me she is not mad at me. She is trying to save my life. She loves me. She'll take care of my daughter. If I get clean, I always have a home with her. And I'm like, fuck you. You will never have my daughter. Like, I'm fucked up. You know what I mean? Go to jail for 11 days. And my mom's done something to where she could talk to the judge to try to get me to rehab. I just want to show y'all, all of this happens within like 3.5 years. I want to show y'all a picture of me when I left my boyfriend and started hanging out with new people compared to what I looked like when I got arrested this time. It's just 3.5 years time difference. So I go into court looking like that, and my mom is there, and they shackle your hands, they shackle your ankles. Like, my mom's never seen me like this. And I go into court, and my mom's already up there with the judge, and the judge says, people come in here begging me for rehab every day just to get out of jail. What makes you any different? And I said, you can keep me in here as long as you want. The day I get out, I'm going to use. or you can give me a chance to learn how to live normal without using. He asked me if I want to say anything to my mom, and I do, and I'm crying. I mean, I'm squalling. I'm telling her I love her, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to get better, and da-da-da-da-da. The judge asked my mom if she wants to say anything to me, and she says no. And that hurt. I get released the next day to my stepdad, who has to take me straight to meet this driver who's taking me to rehab. I get to rehab, and I'm scared, but I mean, it's better than jail. A comfier bed, I can go outside and smoke whenever I want, better food. We have small group type therapy, one-on-one sessions, classes, and then at night we have a big group meeting with everybody there. It's like 40 girls. And the first night this man comes and talks to us, and he's a sailor, and the first thing he says to us is, ladies, if you don't own a black dress, when you get home, go buy one. You're gonna need it. I didn't know what he meant then. For the days of doubt, and for when I think I lost my way, there are no words here left to say it's true. God gave me you. Story time, how I went from being Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie, part 13. I have to work, so we're gonna do my hair on camera, but I wanted to make sure y'all had maybe a part or two to listen to, until I get off work. Okay, so I am at rehab, and my understanding is I'm going to like a long-term type facility, like at least 6 months. My mom prefers a year, but at least 6 months. After a week, I get one phone call a week, and I think the second week, maybe the third, I can start having visits on Sundays. So the first time I get a visit, my mom comes and brings my stepdad and my daughter. I don't think she brings my niece, because when they were little, they fought a lot. I thought we'd been really good about keeping things a secret from my daughter. Like, we would always go in the bathroom. We didn't just do things outright in front of her. So this is the longest amount of time I've been away from my daughter since she was born. And when they get there and she comes through the door, like, I run and fall to my knees to hug her, and she's a little startled at first. But she quickly realizes and hugs me back. And while she's hugging me, she whispers to me, "I'm sorry I didn't bring your medicine, Mommy." I had no idea how she knew to say that, or why she felt the need to say that, but it just kind of put things in reality for me. We have a good visit. She's screaming and crying when they leave. Zach had went home. My mom had told me Zach went home the next day after I'd got arrested. Like, he slept in the woods that night. He went home and turned himself in, and he was in jail. He and I start writing letters, but my mom had sent me a letter while I was in rehab. And I know I've had comments of people, like, telling me they don't like my mom or she's mean. And I guess they missed the part 3 of my video. I wanted to read this letter from my mom. Let me get it, hold on. Okay. "It was good seeing you Sunday. I'm glad you're where you're at. You looked better Sunday than you have in a couple of years. I'm so happy you're making this step, and I pray every day that you continue to improve. If you go back to Zach, I pray you don't put up with any bad habits. I think you need a new life. I hope you understand why I worry so much." There's some personal stuff I'm trying to see. "Your daughter quit crying right when she got in the car. Just said she missed her mommy. I told her you would be home very soon. I know you don't want to hear this, but you need to. Your addiction problem not only impacts you, but many others around you, mostly your baby. She wants her mama so bad. It's hard on me to keep her a lot with your niece. I'm getting old, whether you believe it or not. I don't know what hurts me the most, you being an addict or your baby wanting her mama. You know all of your baby's grandparents are good to her, but Zach's dad, stepmom, me, and your stepdad are trying to get some structure in her life. Side note, y'all, I had fed my baby, bathed my baby, but I had taught her really nothing. She was feral. It has been great for her. I want it to be where her mama can take her. It may not be in our town, and I don't care as long as she has her mama. That's what's eating me up inside. You need to think hard on transitional care. I don't know how that works financial-wise or how much you need up front, which me and your stepdad would pay up front. Sorry, there's some personal stuff that I'm not going to read. Your daughter ate all the way home. I was hoping to bring her to see you every Sunday, but it's a hard drive. Hopefully we can come every other week. Your stepdad is going to bring me next time because I have no clue all the turns that he took. He's going to try to find an easier way for me so that I can bring your daughter for the third visit. My niece did come the first time, and my mom's saying she's going to get my cousin to babysit her. Your niece is asking a lot of questions, and this is bothering her as well. She doesn't understand what is going on much, and she knows it isn't good. If you don't get letters from me like you want, you're on my mind every day. I cry writing this letter, and I want you to go back to the Megan you were a few years ago. I know we fought a lot then. This is your choice. Look at the things we fought about. It was crazy. I laugh about most of it now. I love you, and I'm proud of you for this step you're taking. Hold on, there was another one. Okay. Glad to hear you're getting settled in. I know it would be a challenge for you, but one you must take to get better and back to yourself. I hope you realize you don't only have an addiction problem, you also have some personal problems. I continue to pray that both are corrected while in this facility, but understand it is something you will have to continue to work on when released. All I want is the old you back, the one that could draw anything, like to do weird things with her hair, dress up, all that good stuff. Your daughter's fine and loves daycare. Her first day, Zach's stepmom picked her up. She wanted another snack to take with her, and the teacher explained that she could only get one evening snack, and they're not for home. Zach's stepmom told her she would get a snack as soon as she got home. Your daughter pitched a huge fit, and Zach's stepmom had to drag her to the car. Someone on Teen Mom, their daughter was there, and the MTV crew was there. Zach's stepmom said they were just staring at her and laughing. Thank goodness that won't be on TV. You know I loved it. Zach's stepmom makes sure she carries snacks in the car now, so your daughter gets one when she gets in the car. No more meltdowns as of last week. The letter you sent your niece, she loved it. Has it on her dresser. We're coming to see you Sunday. I'm putting money in a phone card in this letter and bringing all your other items on that day. Your niece picked out a coloring book for you. Wait till you see it. It's an adult one and awesome. I'm getting your daughter from school Friday evening. We're leaving Saturday morning and staying in Murfreesboro, planning on visiting with my aunt and uncle. We wanted to do this and talk to some folks around there about what may be the best route from our town to the rehab. Zach's talking to his dad and your daughter daily. He's doing okay. They're trying to get him in rehab or in drug court. They're going to send him to a rehab in town, and he'll be there for a while, longer than you are for sure. Remember, your friend's dad did that when y'all were little, and it worked for him. Honestly, any rehab will work. If you both are ready for change. You both have to want it in your heart and want a new life. No one can make you, and I'm sure you've learned that by now. Go to the next part. Story time, how I went from being Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie, part 14. I'm continuing the letter from my mom that she'd sent me in rehab. You two have a lot of repairing on your relationships. You both have a lot of proving to do. You both have to want it, and it's not going to happen overnight. You have to work on it daily. Below is the mailing information you want. Zach says you only needed the address of the jail to send him letters. I love you, and I always will. I'm proud of you for taking this step towards your recovery. Please don't rush the process. The longer, the better. Enjoy the smokes. Hope they're not mashed up when you get them. Please don't try to get discouraged on your next step to transitional care. This is a big step for you, but to me, it's a very important step in your progress. You can do it, and you're really going to find out who you are now and what you want with your life. I think, anyway. I know you'll do fine and adjust quickly. I talked to Zach's stepmom last night. She told me to tell you she would love to hear from you. Your daughter was playing when I talked to her. She lost all her stripes at school yesterday. There's a boy in her class, and when the two of them get together, it's on. They get along fine, but they may be mean to others. In other words, they might be bullies. Take care, and remember, I'm proud of you, and I know you can beat this disease. I love you always, Mom. So I'm in rehab, and I'm thinking I'm there for like 6 months, and I find out in a few weeks. This is an inpatient program. It's a 28-day program. I'm excited. Hell yeah, I'm going home. No, I'm not. My counselor talks to my mom and talks to the judge, and they are sending me to a halfway house. That's what my mom was saying, not to get discouraged with transitional care. I go to the halfway house. The girls are nice. We have to go to a meeting every day, and the guy's house is a couple blocks away, and they do a meeting at their house every day, so we just go to that one. And let's just say your hormones are taking over. I do want to show pictures from that mugshot I'd shared to 3 months after I was at this halfway house and clean. But it didn't take long. I loved Zach. But we had been apart for the longest we'd been apart. And as he said it, I Dear John'd him. Because there was a tall glass of water at this guy's house. And I wanted to know. And I found out. And he loved me. Like, he just got out of prison, was a year younger than me. But he was all about the cricket, okay? And there was another guy at the guy's house who was German, and he was super cool, and they were buddies, but that guy was on, like, the dark web and ordering to get mailed to the guy's house, and eventually him and this guy I'm talking to, they get kicked out. You know what I do? Yeah. So me and my house manager, we have, like, the attic bedroom. We sneak the guy that I like in, and he lives there secretly for like 2 months. And he just stays up there. And when we all go to work at Ryan's, he comes down and like goes and does what he needs to do, takes a shower, whatever. Well, a bunch of girls leave our house, and we get new girls. And we all relapse. And one girl who was talking to the manager of the guy's house, who was a really good friend of me, but she's a snitch. She tells that guy who tells the damn people who own the house. And she comes, and she don't drug test us or nothing. She kicks us all out. Well, I know I have nowhere to go. And the guy with me has nowhere to go. So we go with the girl who's there, who started talking to the manager of Hardee's. And we go to his apartment for a day or two. And during that time, I'm using. And that's how quick it is. I run out and I'm sick. Deathly sick. Laying on the floor upstairs. And the girl that was at the halfway house with me, who brought us there, she brings me a small Coke bottle with a straw and tells me to just hit it. I'll feel better. I think it's pot. I'm laying on the floor, sick. And she's like, here. And she's like, just hit this. You feel better. She likes it. I hit it. It is not pot. The train is coming. If you smell what I'm stepping in. I jump up, run to the back door, and I'm gonna throw up, like, womp, 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 and it's over. I tell the guy I'm with to take me to the store. I have to get something to drink. So we go, and he's like, what do you want to drink? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, do you want a light beverage or a dark beverage? And I'm like, I don't know, but I have to have something to drink. And he's like, why are you whispering? And I said, because everybody's going to know. And he said, everybody's going to know what? And I said, everybody's going to know that I just smoked crack. Accidentally. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, it's just, we're in the car. I already know you could talk. And I'm like, go get me a drink now. It's not funny. What the fuck was my life, right? So, we end up, we're both like, fuck this. And we leave, and we go to his mom's house or something in another town. And then my daughter's birthday comes, I leave, I go back to Zach's stepmom's for my daughter's birthday party, and Zach's out of jail. But I'm not talking to him like he's mad at me. I dear John'd him. I'm upstairs, he's in the basement. My daughter goes to bed, and he's like, why don't you come down here and listen to Kevin Gates? You know you want to. And did. And I go down there. And, you know. But, let me try to remember. My mom nor Zach's stepmom were letting me come home unless I took a hair follicle test. And I did. And I passed it. And the way I passed it is, hold on, my timeline's messed up. We got kicked out. She ended up, the lady who owned the house ended up letting me go to another girl's house where I took this guy with me. I drove from there to my hometown on my 25th birthday. Picture. We got, I did mine first. I went to prepare his. I spilled all his, and I went out. My 25th birthday in my town. Nobody knew I was here. I overdosed. And he took me back to my dealer. She had somebody there. They were trying to get me to wake up, like they were throwing drinks on me. He said I was just barely breathing. He drove me 3 hours back to the town where the halfway house was I was at. Took me to the hospital. They had to Narcan me 3 times. And when I come to, I come alive. Like, ripped the ventilator out, and all I was worried about was, are y'all going to take me to jail? I said, why would we take you to jail? The law changed in 2015. I didn't know that. They told me it was amazing. I was alive, let alone walking and talking and totally fine. That wasn't really enough to stop me, though. Go to the next part. Story time. How I went from being Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie, part 15. So I get out of the hospital. I get kicked out of the halfway house again for the final time. This is the time when I go home, and my mom and Zach's stepmom are like, you are not coming unless you do a hair follicle. I did. I passed, and it's because I had been Narcan the hell out. And maybe that's when Zach was home. I don't know. I don't remember the timeline, y'all. All that stuff happened. I just don't remember the exact order, other than on my 25th birthday, I did overdose. I'm trying to remember, y'all. Okay, so after this, my probation is violated from that original charge with the news story. And my mom wants to take me to detox and rehab again. So I go to detox, and I stay 5 days, and then I go back to that inpatient rehab to start all over. I'm there for a week. They call my probation officer, and my probation officer's like, nope, she needs to come turn herself in. My mom brings Zach, and they come get me. And I stay with Zach that night. The next day, his stepmom takes me to turn myself in. In Georgia, I like Georgia better than Tennessee because where I was, you had like 4-man cells and then a big open place. It was much quieter, but you did only eat twice a day, but it was cleaner. It was just so much better than Tennessee. But you also don't have the whole you go to court within 10 days rule. Like, you will sit there just until they come get you and have no idea how long you're there at all. I'm there for 2 months. I get out. My mom has found this other halfway house type deal, but they're very strict. They're very structured. It's in Knoxville. I don't want to fucking go, but I have nowhere to go. I go, and y'all, this place is the best thing that could have happened to me. I start a job where these people are like family to me. They're supportive of me. Somebody could be in the parking lot smoking something, and they would go out there and go off on them, like, to protect me. Kids younger than me, my boss was older than me, like, I'm at this house, we have these structured classes, Zach's stepmom's bringing my daughter to see me, like, I'm doing really good here. Zach gets out somewhere in there and sends me pictures of this other woman with my kid, and that hurt, but I was just like, fuck it, you know, whatever. I'm focused. I do so good in this program. And by the time I get out of this program, I think Zach's back in jail. Like, that, this is just a cycle. But I get out, and I go home. I get custody back of my daughter. I get my own apartment. I'm working at a rehab place with adolescents, which is what I want to do. It's like what I'm meant to do, because now I'm a recovery know-it-all. I'm working third shift, and I get home one morning, and my aunt calls me, my dad's sister, and says, your brother's in the hospital. And I'm like, well, what for now, you know, because my mom and I, we'd kind of just, he was the joke, really. And my aunt says, it's bad, your mom's here. Mind you, 9 days before, I had posted on Facebook that I had a bad feeling about my brother and I hoped he was okay. I hated him, but I loved him. And I don't know why he didn't get on Facebook, but I posted that. So I go to the hospital and I see my mom, and she's crying. My whole family's there. My brother is on life support. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And nobody's really saying what's happening. Just that it's bad. Okay. I eventually go home. I go back to the hospital the next day, and we're in the waiting room, and this doctor tells us they're going to take us in another room. And I'm like, no, I'm not going in that room. And my mom's like, come on, it might not be bad. She already knew. But the rest of us didn't. Her and my dad knew. And I guess my stepdad, the rest of us didn't. So we go in this room. It's like a conference room. And they tell us they tell us the time of death. My brother was 29 years old. To start talking about how my niece is his legacy, and we have to convince my dad to donate some of my brother's organs, and the room starts spinning for me. I get up, I pick up the rolly chair I'm in, and I'm out. And the nurse is chasing me. She's like, I don't want you to drive. And I'm like, get away from me, don't touch me. I leave the hospital, I go straight to my drug dealer's house. I'd been clean for 11 months. I beg her for heroin, and she gives it to me. I go to my brother's visitation. However many days later I go in, I see him, I throw up on the sidewalk. The next day, I'm running late to the graveside service. I pull in on two wheels, park my car, jump in the car with my parents. We're driving to the graveyard, and my mother screams this blood-curdling scream like I've never heard from any human, let alone my super tough, hard-ass mom. And she's like, I never thought I would be following my baby in a hearse. And it's just, this isn't real. This isn't happening. I used for 11 more months. I go to jail a few times. I go stay with my dad. Zach's in jail. I get him out of jail. We go to Florida for a while. I pick him up, you know, I don't remember the timeline really, but I know at the end he got out of jail. I picked him up. We went back to my dad's, and we were fighting a lot, and we were using. And on March 31st, Zach and I were fighting, and he was insisting on leaving. I didn't have a car. My family had nothing to do with me. I hadn't been able to talk to my daughter in months because I was using. But I was at my dad's. That was the only place I had to go. My dad was grieving my brother. We're trying to get to know each other and build our relationship. I have no job. I have no car. I have nothing. Zach's car's there. And he is insisting on leaving, and I'm mad, and I'm crying, and I'm screaming, and he leaves. And I take a bath that night, and I'm in there forever, and I just told myself when I get out of this bathtub, I will never cry over Zach again. Like, I'm done. It's been going on for nearly a decade at this point, almost. I'm done. I'm never going back. He will not get another tear. And he didn't. And I didn't. The next day, I have my last apparatus of heroin, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just twirling it around for like 45 minutes, and finally I yell for my dad, and I'm like, take this shit. And I wasn't trying to quit. I just knew I wasn't going to be able to get anything, and I didn't want to fuck with it right then. I told him to come get it. That was April 1st, 2018. April 1st, 2018 was the first day I did not use heroin and have not used heroin since. But there are a few more parts of this story that are important, and I will get those after I get off work. Catch you in the next part. I went from Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie, part 16. So, I stopped using. I still am not able to talk to my daughter, and my family outside of my dad still has nothing to do with me. I have a lot to prove because I let them down so many times. Zach leaves. I stop using. Still don't have any communication with my family outside my dad. Zach ends up getting arrested, and I'm like, serves him right. He gets out. He goes to work out of town. And during this time, like, we're broken up, and I'm not getting back with him. And I'm freshly sober, and I'm testing the waters, and I experimentally date one of my friends from when I was a kid, kinda. He dated a lot of other people, so I wasn't really dating him, but I thought I was. And I was staying with him at his grandparents, because my dad and I weren't getting along. My dad was grieving, and I was freshly clean, and it wasn't good. And the guy I'm kind of dating goes to jail, and Zach ends up coming home for a visit, and is wanting to see me, and I'm like, no, okay. And I had recently done some work for my uncle, and he had given me like $700 and something to pay this massive fine with. And in my head, I was like, okay, I'm going to pay this fine. I'm going to go through the court. I'm going to be able to see my daughter. Because my family still doesn't trust me. I still don't see or talk to my daughter. So I go, and I see Zach. And it's different. And I can feel that it's different. And he plays Hate Me by Blue October for me. He plays Juice WRLD for me. We're on some sad shit. He ends up stealing my freaking money to pay this fine. And I know he did it, and he won't admit it, but I know. I'm livid. I fuck him. I'm done. A few days later, he's texting me and calling me and wanting me to take him back to work out of town, somewhere in Georgia, like 4 or 5 hours away. And I'm like, fuck you. I'm not taking you anywhere. And Zach is someone who definitely doesn't cry. Like, he is rough, tough, manly type dude. And he calls me and he's crying. And he says, Megan, if you don't take me, I'm gonna die here. Please. So I agreed to take him. And we got sad jams the whole way. We get there, and he wants me to get out of the car. And I'm like, I'm not getting out of the car because your stepbrother's in there who's going to tell your stepmom that we've been together. No. No. I don't want them to know we've talked or nothing. Of course, he talks me into it. And we go in, and his stepbrother's asleep. And we go in the bathroom, and he's like taking my jacket off of me. And I'm like, we are not doing that, sir. He gets my jacket off. He grabs my arms, and he looks at him, and he says, you're telling the truth. You're not using. You're such a sissy, dude. Like, just shit talking me like he could not believe that I was actually not only saying I wasn't using, but that I actually wasn't using. And he teared up. And I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go home. He comes and walks me to the car, and he sits in, like, my door's open, and he's sitting, like, in the door jamb or whatever. And he's begging me to stay. He's like, I promise it'll be different this time if you just come with me. Because I went with him so many times working out of town. He's like, I promise this time it'll be different. Like, you're clean. Like, we're going to do this time. And I just, it's like, Zach, I love you, and I love our daughter too much to kill you. And our common ground always unintentionally leads to heroin. I'm not staying, and I'm not going. I'm going home. You do what you need to do, and I'm going to fight for our daughter. And he's like crying, and he gets out of my car, and I come home, and we're texting and stuff, and he's so funny. Me and this guy I thought I was dating, he gets out of jail, and we end up getting in an argument, and I go to my dad's, and I get a call from him, and he's like, who's MJ? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. He said, well, he's just come to my grandma's house and slapped the dog shit out of me and said Zach sent him. I call Zach mad, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm staying there. What are you doing? And he's like, I don't care if he cheats on you. I don't give a fuck what he does. But he don't tell you you're beautiful every day. Fuck him. And I was like, you're such a wuss. You send somebody else to do it? And he's like, actually, I wired him money to do it because I'm not there to do it myself. I was so mad. God, I was mad. So, Zach ends up going to Panama City for work. And he's sending me pictures. And I'm like, you're not there. Send me a picture with you in it. And he's like, turns it around. He's got a beer in his hand. He takes a picture on the beach. And he's like, it's beautiful here. Like, I will fly you out tonight. Just come. And I'm like, no. I can't. I always hoped from way back in the beginning there would be a day that I would have my family, that Zach and I would be together and raise our daughter, and just one day. Even though at this point I was done, I wasn't going back. Like, I had faith in it, hope in it, and deep down, that's all I wanted. So, one night, I get a call from a cousin or something, like 1 in the morning maybe, and and she's asking me why Zach's stepbrother is calling her, not making any sense, saying Zach's dead, something's happened, and I'm like, I don't know, he's fucking on dope. And she's like, well, you might want to call him. So I call Zach's stepbrother. And he's just screaming at me like things that I don't understand. He's like, do you not understand? All your daughter has now is you and me and da 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 da. And I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? And he hangs up on me. So I call Zach's stepmom, who I've not had contact with in over 6 months at all. I call her. She answers the phone and she says, hey, baby. And I said, why is Zach's stepbrother calling people and saying this? And she said, it's true. I said, how do you know? He's fucked up. He's on dope. She tells me Zach's dad has talked to a medical examiner. It's true. And she says, I'm so sorry. I know that you just wanted your family. I felt like someone had took a sledgehammer to my ribs. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't see. I couldn't hear. I couldn't think. I couldn't. 18 months to the day after my brother died. I was 5 months clean. Zach does. Everyone's afraid I'm going to relapse and I won't talk to anybody. I'd go ghost. I don't relapse, but I don't know how I'll ever get past this. See y'all in the next part. How I went from Mother Mary to a full-blown junkie, part 17. Zach's stepmom and my family, they're all coming around now. Everyone's grieving and everyone's extremely worried about me because they don't know what I'm about to do. And they're telling me I can see my daughter and I refuse. I refuse because I'm terrified that if I lay eyes on my daughter with Zach, I'll relapse. I won't make it. I don't know what to say to her. I don't know. It takes me about a month, and I go see her. We start FaceTiming and stuff. My dad and me and that guy, like, shit falls apart. I go home to my dad, and we're not getting along. I'm going through the shit. I end up getting mad and packing like 2 days worth of clothes and leaving and going to my mom's, who is getting ready to move to her new house. And she's like, you know, there's not room for my niece, me, my stepdad, my mom, my daughter. Like, it's a small house. But I'm just like, I have to do whatever I can to get back to my daughter. And that's the only place I knew to start. So I'm there. I end up getting a job at a hotel close by, housekeeping. I get a cheap, beater-ass car. And I start going to Zach's stepmom's every single evening. And I'm helping my daughter with homework, bath, and I'm laying with her at night till she goes to bed. I'm leaving her a note for her to wake up to in the morning, and I'm going back home. And my mom ends up moving. And she thinks her house is sold, but something happens, they back out, and it's not. And she's talking about renting it and don't know what she's going to do. But I think I'm moving with them. Because I don't make enough money to rent a house in this area. And y'all, this story's about to get really good. I know it's been sad, but it's about to get so good. So one evening, I go... Well, my mom moves, and she's like, you can stay here for 2 weeks, and then you're going to have to come with us. Okay. I'm definitely staying back, because y'all get on my nerves. Well, my mom does. So anyway, I go to Zach's stepmom's house for another regular school night, bedtime routine with my daughter. And she meets me at the door, which she usually doesn't do. and she asks me if I want my daughter. And I'm like, what? And she's like, you've been clean, you've been working, do you want your daughter back? And I'm just like, and she's like, you know, I've talked to your mom about you renting that house for a while, and we've got it worked out. Do you want your daughter? I could not believe this was happening. And then my daughter, like, when you go, their front door, they had stairs, and then my daughter comes around the corner and has, like, this little bag, and she's smiling, and, like, holy shit, right? And Zach's stepmom just tells me, like, I always knew that you were not going to give up. You were going to fight, and you were going to get it right, and you have. You have. We pack my daughter's stuff, and we go home. And she's been with me ever since. I know I have comments that are like, how are you and your daughter doing now? She is 13 now, and some days are rough because she is mouthy. And she's got her daddy's eyes. And she's been with me over 5 years now. I've been clean 7.5 years. And you know what? A lot of my past hangs on me, makes it hard for me to get a good job. So I started my own cleaning business, and I do not make good money. I'm poor. Cash App and bio. Kidding. Unless you're down. We do not have a lavish, fun lifestyle. I struggle financially, but we have a lot of love and a lot of trust. And that kid, I'm still shocked by it sometimes. Like, she's the coolest thing I've ever made, y'all. If I could stick her ass on the fridge, I would. I say that all the time. But, like, I'm very close with Zach's dad, and especially his stepmom. Like, she's my biggest cheerleader, and I don't know where I'd be without her. My mom still tries to tough love me, but we're very close. People who see us around each other say they love our relationship because we shit talk the hell out of each other and just act goofy. And my mom trusts me. Zach's stepmom trusts me. My niece, my little baby niece, who I love so much and didn't understand, she is 19 now. She is so responsible and smart and beautiful and hardworking, and she's literally sunshine walking around. My daughter is full of attitude, full of goth and emo, and 13-year-old me made all over. We have a black cat. Life is not exactly how I had hoped and dreamed. But my daughter and I, there's a whole lot of love between us, and we're doing okay. Thank all y'all for listening to my story. Hope y'all enjoyed it. If you want a sequel about all the crazy things that have happened in the last 7.5 years, let me know.
It's close to me. I let it go back to when we played as kids, but things changed. That's the way it is. Come on, come on.
That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. That's just the way it is. Oh yeah.
Hear me. Oh, come on. Oh, come on, come on.
That's just the way it is.